Hey people, Seth here, and today, we're gonna be doing episode 2 of the Intravenous 2 level design tutorial video series. Previously we talked about how the camera system works and how we can use the camera system to create risk and reward and all that stuff, and how balancing tightly packed, close together rooms with long open hallways or big old rooms where you can't see the end of them can create tension in the gameplay and a sense of risk and reward of progression. And today we're going to be building off of that concept by talking a little bit. Actually, I'm going to turn myself up a little bit because I was doing some voice acting yesterday. Not yesterday, a couple days ago. But, anyways, we're going to be talking about the next concept that I want to talk about, which is options. I'm just going to call it options. I'm sure I'll come up with, a more formal list later. Like I said, I just have a few bullet points for this series. I don't really have a script, so, it's whatever. But I want to call this one options. And what do I mean by that? And why is it important? Options, I think, I'm going to define it as multiple routes or, let's just call it multiple routes to an objective. I think a level is better when there are more than one ways to reach the objective. In this case, we have this guy up here. This is the same level as before. You can tell probably. But if I load into the level again and I run on over here, you'll realize that, because of the way I designed this building, there's really only one way this building can be completed, I guess, which is go through the front door here, make your way through this hallway, up here, through this door, past that guy, and to the target room. And, is it fun and is it, better designed than our previous room over here? Yes. Or building. Our previous building over here, it is better designed than that. But I think it could still be better because, we only really have the one entrance and the one route to get into this room. There's only one entrance to this room that leads to only one entrance to this room. And today, I'm going to help spice up this level a bit to give us some more options during our level. And one thing that I also want to talk about is if you watch my channel, you've probably also watched other video essayist YouTube channels such as Racevic. And if you've watched Racevic's videos, I think he's made multiple videos on the Fear games. He basically talks about the theory behind the levels in those games. I think he reads interviews or maybe talks with some of the developers on the game, and they talk about this idea of circular navigability. I think that's how you say it. And basically what that means is you always have at least two ways to go to approach the enemy. It's kind of designed as a circle. You can, encircle your enemies or your objective and in which way you want. And I think having a building like this be designed around circular navigability is really important. For the reason of, giving the player more choices, not only during stealth, but also during combat. Because, if I get seen in here and I want to escape this building, because I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to fight and I want to run away. I just have to run out this door here. There's no other entrances or windows I can vault out of. Which, spoiler alert, those are going to be what we're adding. So, first of all, you may notice how I designed some of our patrol paths here, or specifically one patrol path. This guy, he's going to be coming out here in a sec. He's going to come up here into this room. He's going to look like right about where I am. He's going to stare at the wall. This was on purpose, so I could put a window there. So let's do that. Got a window here, and just gonna make a little 3 tile long window. And if you'll see, his patrol starts right here, where we can add another window. And just for fun, why don't we add a few more in this room? These the player won't be able to vault into, because you know, there's stuff blocking them, the bed and the fucking bedside table here. But this also increases the challenge of getting to this window, since this guy could see us, you know, approaching through these windows. So now, you know, we have, you know, obviously breaking open the glass is really risky because of the noise it makes. But you see, we have multiple ways to enter this building now, not just the front door here. You could even go through here. Maybe we could even have like another window up here. So this guy could be just not staring at a wall, but maybe he's looking at a nice view over there. A rule of thumb that's pretty important is you never want to put any windows in the target room unless the player is supposed to be able to, you know, jump in there from the window. Because if you have windows in the target room, the player can just ignore the level, and I don't have to demonstrate. They can just ignore the level, run in there, break the window, and kill the target, and then leave. So usually it's a bad idea to put windows in the target room. And if you look in the main game, you'll notice this, that, you know, there's barely any there's no windows in any of the target rooms. Just make sure we have this lined up here. And I've also put a door right here, as you can see. A little back entrance. We can do something special so that maybe this door can only be accessible. I'll just pretend this goes on or connects to another building or something. In fact, why don't I move the fucking player spawn over here? But then I have to move all the items, and that's too much work. So we're going over here. And, you know, we can sneak past this window here, but we can't get through this door because maybe this accesses like later part of the level. And we want the player to have to sneak through this house first before he gets to the rest of the level. So we can, you know, block this off up here. But, you know, we may be restricting where the player can go immediately. Like, they have to sneak through this house, get to this door. Maybe there's more of a level over here. This isn't the only target. Or maybe, you know, we can replace this room with whatever. Maybe there's money or a weapon in here. If we were going to be continuing this level. But having the door there is nice anyways. And let's see, I'm going to remove this for now. For the level's sake. So now you see, you know, if we want to take the risk of breaking the glass, we have multiple ways to approach this objective. In fact, you know, one thing I think we could do, because I think these guys will hear the glass no matter if I he doesn't. Oh, he heard it that time. Okay. So he's gonna see the broken glass. But I'm still good because I'm in the house now. Oh shit. Okay, so they're all sus. Oh, do you see me? No, I was under the bed. Oh, come on. Oh well. Fuck you, bitch. Anyways, you get the idea. What we could do anyway, or what we could do otherwise is, you know, we could even remove the glass here if we want the player to have an easier time getting in here. And boom, we're in. You'll notice I added something else here. Skadoosh. Closet. This actually was... I put this closet here for the purpose of another demonstration, but I decided this episode was going to be about something different today. So we ended up talking about options instead of the other topic I was going to talk about. But that's okay, because, you know, it still works out for us. We can get in here, club this guy in the back of the head, bam, and boom, got to the target. So yeah, one thing you should consider is the risk and reward, again, of these different options. So, you know, let's say, I think currently that the front door and this side window here without the glass both have pretty equal risk involved in them. Because, you know, there's a patrol path where one guy looks at this entrance and then walks off for a little bit. And then eventually they'll cycle back to this spot again. So the player has to consider, you know, where this guy or that guy are in their patrol path before committing to either of these options. But maybe we don't want the player to get into this room so easily, so we'll have the glass there. So as you saw before, while this guy was all the way over here, he couldn't hear me breaking this glass, and I could safely get in. But he did start walking back as I was breaking the second tile, so he heard it and came out to investigate. But also, if we don't knock out this guy in time, he's going to come down here and notice the broken glass and get suspicious, right? So there's different risk and reward you need to consider with that. One thing I just want to comment on is that, you know, I think you should give the player at least 2 low risk options to enter your level. So that would be, you know, in this case, these 2 without the glass here have similar risk and reward. Maybe different reward, but similar risk. Because, you know, they're in their own isolated place, which links up to this hallway where only one guy comes and looks at the entrance. And this is actually something that I feel a little bit lacking in the base game of Intravenous 1 and 2. Let me save. Let me demonstrate why. Let me think of what level. Oh god, I didn't come prepared like last time. I think let's just start with map 12. What is this? Apartments? No. It's later on in the game. 14. Okay, this is Oleander's objective. Yeah. So this is one that I think maybe suffers a little bit from the risk reward problem of having maybe one option that's way better for stealth, let's say, than any of the others, which is ironically this main door here, because there's like a patrol path. No, there's a patrol path that starts here, looks out here, and goes up there. These guys, if you listen to their dialogue, they walk off out to their own spot. This camera's looking back and forth, but you know, you have a pretty safe spot here behind these bushes, and you just have to lockpick this door and go in. But there are a lot of guys here, so what makes this the best option over everything else? Over here is another good spot. It's dark, but there's always a guy sitting here in this room. There's a guy that comes in here and patrols. And there's a guy that comes in and out of this room, and this is as far up as you can go. So, you know, you could break the glass of these windows, but guaranteed, you know, one of these guys, either this guy or maybe that guy, or this guy, is going to hear it and come investigate. So, if you're trying to be super sneaky and, you know, get in nice and clean, it makes it difficult to want to take any route except for the front door here. Because, you know, all of these options involve breaking a window, which is noisy, and you risk a lot by being detected, right? So, I think this map skews a little too much towards this front entrance in terms of risk and reward. I think it's a little too tempting to just, you know, hop in here and start the level in this kind of really difficult way, because these options are all far too risky. With the broken glass and stuff. So, and something similar I think it's funny is, what was that, 14? 13 should be, what's it called? Theo's, no. Who do you kill here? Some guy, this guy. Who are you? Dolian. That's right. This basically, I think it's funny how this is basically the same layout. Which I thought it was a little funny, because on my first playthrough I thought I was going back to the same place. Like back to fucking Dolian's mansion when I was doing Oleander's objective, because the start is so similar. But look at, I feel like this is way better, but maybe also has the same kind of problem, because now that you have this wall here, that's you know, only one patrol comes down here to look at this wall, and it's in darkness, so this guy he's sitting on the couch here, isn't going to see you. So I think this option, climbing over the wall here, is better than going through the front door, and better than breaking any of these windows to get in either. So that's my take on this, is that, you know, I think when designing your level, and especially at the start here, you should think about more than one way for the player to get into the level. And not only think about more than one way, but think about the risk and reward of each way of getting into the level. Because, you know, these windows all have people patrolling or sitting next to them. And this door leads out into this, you know, giant, you know, front road here with a camera and people patrolling. So this is really the best option, is to climb over the wall here. And I think, you know, having the player, you know, having the best option for the player only be really one route, I think isn't the best. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm going to be designing my levels like this. And at the end of this series, I'm actually going to be making my own level, not from scratch, because I already have a little bit of it done, but I decided, oh, I should finish this level for, for the series. But yeah, one thing I do think is cool is that once you actually are in the level, you do have a lot of choice of where you want to go. You can climb in here, but why the fuck would you do that? There's a guy there. You could go through the courtyard here, through the maze, or you could sneak through here and, grab the key card. There it is, the key card. It goes to this door, I think. Or you could go up here and just, fuck all that entirely and sneak through here for some reason. It's really hard to sneak through here. But anyways, I think that covers all I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, that's risk and reward of different options. Make sure to include multiple options in your level for the players that want it. Most levels that I've seen have been pretty good about that. But yeah, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for episode 3, and have a great day.